Hey, what's up guys, it's OSG back, and this time I'm covering the best remake games on original hardware. These are games that have been remade, but not for new systems like a lot of games are these days. These are on original hardware. Some games are vast improvements on badly made games, and some of them are just enhancements on already great games, as you will see. Anyway, whatever the reason behind them, it's just great that we are still getting new games on the systems we grew up with and loved. Bombjack on the arcade is in my top 5 favourite arcade games ever, but I never really liked the Amiga version. Although it doesn't look too bad, the game is sluggish and that repetitive slow boring music just does my head in. This is Bombjack Beer Edition by Graeme Cowie, and it was released in 2018. This is an almost arcade perfect conversion with the same great music and gameplay. When I fired this up, I played it for hours, it's just so good. Now I actually love the original Ghosts and Goblins on the C64. I recently long played it and loved every minute. As far as arcade to 8-bit conversions go, I thought this was about as close as it could get, but as you will see next, I was wrong. The remake, named Ghosts and Goblins Arcade, was released in 2015 by Nostalgia, and it takes everything that was great about the first game and polishes it up to a high 8-bit standard. Arthur looks a little bit more detailed and chunkier, and the new soundtrack is pretty good, although I prefer the original. The levels are longer and they added 2 extra levels too. All in all, it's a vast improvement on an already good game, which makes this a truly great game. The great Guiana Sisters was Rainbow Art's way to stick 2 fingers up at the video game juggernaut known as Nintendo. At the time, Nintendo was cornering the market with their Super Mario games, which they didn't license to other systems. The answer? Make a complete rip-off with sisters instead of brothers. As you can see, the similarities are uncanny, and to be honest, I don't know how they got away with it, but they did. Anyway, I've never really been a fan of the Great Guiana Sisters. It's very clunky compared to Super Mario Bros, and I find the music quite boring too. The remake, which is named the Great Guiana Sisters Special Edition, polishes up the original game, which although I say I've never been a fan of, really improves things. The characters look much more 16-bit like, and the movement is as smooth as you would expect from an Amiga platform game. The music is also better too. What can I say about the original R-Type on the Amstrad? I think one word sums it up: crap. And I don't think that many Amstrad fans would disagree with that, as there's no way of getting around the fact that this is nowhere near what we would expect from an R-Type game. For a system that prides itself on its colour palette over the other 8-bits, this is the dullest out of a lot of them. On top of that, it has rubbish sound effects and no music. This is a remake aptly named R-Type 128K Remake by Easter Egg and released in 2012, and I have to say that this is a masterclass on how to convert an arcade to 8-bit machine. It's just so good I almost forgot I was playing it on the Amstrad when I first played this, and just look at the colour, it's awesome, not to mention that great arcade soundtrack that we all loved on R-Type. Sticking with the Amstrad now for Bobble. Now a while ago when I did my comparison on Bobble, this version finished in last place because it is absolute pants. The movement of the main character is slow, and the fact that there is no music, which to be honest Bobble is really remembered for, is unforgivable. And what the hell is going on with Bub? Why is he red? "24 years after the original, we are treated to this masterpiece on the Amstrad. It's a remake by CNG Soft, and it's everything that the original game should have been. From the intro sequence to the gameplay, this is a truly great arcade conversion. I mean, yeah, the music is slightly off, but graphics wise it's spot on, and now at least we have a green Bub." Commando on the C64 is still one of my favourite run and gun shooters on the system, mainly for the great music by Rob Hubbard. The game itself is fast and frantic as you race through 3 levels. Yes, you heard right, a whole 3 levels, opposed to the 8 on the arcade, which for me was a letdown, as I would have expected to at least have all the levels. "29 years after the original Commando, the guys from Nostalgia gave it a makeover that it needed, adding in all the arcade levels, which look and play great, and also having the original arcade helicopter scene at the start. They added new music as well, but as the original game had such a great soundtrack, this is an option that you select. For me, it is always going to be Hubbard all the way. This is the second of the Ghosts and Goblins games on the list, and this time it's on the Amstrad. As with most Amstrad games, this had great colour, and to be honest I quite like this version. The music is really nice, but it does have its flaws. The fact that the ghosts constantly spawn from the same place is a bit of a nightmare, and even more of a nightmare is the fact that Arthur only takes 1 hit to be killed. No running around in his undercrackers like on the arcade. Fast forward 32 years and now we have what I would say is maybe the best arcade conversion on the Amstrad. Although it must be noted that this isn't on the CPC as the first one was, but it's on the GX4000. Still though, I'm told from a reliable source that this is still classed as a remake. It has all the expected cutscenes and the whole game just looks class, as well as having great gameplay. Now let's look at the abomination known as OutRun on the Amiga. I actually bought this game, and when I first loaded it up I was so excited, especially when this overdramatic intro showed up with the nice looking artwork. Unfortunately, the game went on to load what is maybe the biggest letdown I ever experienced on my Amiga. Handling is non-existent and the graphics are really poor, and even the sound effects and music aren't what you expect from the Amiga. This is a truly shameful port. 28 years later and this game has been released. It's called CannonBall, Enhanced OutRun Engine, and it's a true feat of coding on the Amiga. This game, although it does require the main ROM files to run, is Amiga code and just looks absolutely class and plays so smooth and fast. Imagine if we got this version back in the day. The only problem is that you need a super powerful Amiga to play it. Barbarian on the Amiga is one of those staple games that most Amiga owners had. It was pretty simple but loads of fun to play, especially with friends, and was a favourite with most kids for the decapitation and comical head kicking scene. Last year, Barbarian was remade and they took the original great game and polished it up to look crisper and added some great voice effects. It's a good game, but something just isn't right with the gameplay for me. If I had to choose this one or the original, I would choose the 1987 classic.
Prepare to die.
Here we have the original Ocean Donkey Kong on C64, and make no mistake, this is a brilliant 8-bit version of the game. I personally played this game to death back in the day. My only minor bugbear is the sound, as it's quite annoying. This is the 2016 version, released by OutRun, and from the off it looks a little bit more refined and the music and sound are much easier on the ears. Mario looks much better and the gameplay is slightly better, but really the biggest plus of this version is the sound for me. Frogger on the C64 was a good attempt at replicating the arcade classic, but there was always something wrong with it for me, namely the frog was giant and had no animation at all. Still though, at the time this was a good 8-bit fix. In 2016, Frogger Arcade was released, and this is as near arcade perfect as I think the C64 game can get. Everything about this game is just right, and if you didn't know you were playing it on the Commodore, you could almost think you were playing the real thing. Here we have Night Law on the MSX, and let me start by saying that these types of games aren't really my favourite, so the fact that it's not good looking, in fact it's more like a Spectrum port, makes it one that I would never have played. However, no colour and nasty sound aside, this is a pretty entertaining game, just wish it looked and sounded better. This is a remake of Night's Law for the MSX2, and it's a beautiful looking game. While it's still not great sound wise, I can forgive that as the gameplay is spot on and it just looks so good. Just before I go, I think I really need to mention one more game. It's not strictly a remake, but it deserves to get a mention, and that's Bombjack on the MSX2. Now I thought Bombjack B Edition was the best home version I'd seen, but this version is an absolute class remake from Trailzek in 2004. If you like Bombjack on the arcade, then go and play this, you will be blown away. Okay, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments below if there are any other good remade games on original hardware that I haven't mentioned here, and remember to hit that like button. It takes a second of your time but means a lot to me and my channel. Till next time, this is OSG, signing out.